Okay, get yourself ready and sit yourself onto a lift so that you feel like you're sitting evenly with levelness in the seat bones. And that takes just a few moments to really establish that sensation of levelness. So just spend a moment or two just to hold onto your knees, elevate up into the heart area, really lift the chest. So especially if you haven't slept well, lifting up into the chest is a great way to open up your morning energy. So lift the heart area upwards, drawing the shoulders down, and then draw your focus back into your seat bones, into the feet, and just assess whether or not you feel as though you are sitting evenly. So that can take a little while to really establish the answer to that. But if you feel that you're not level, then just adjust your sitting position, maybe move the buttock flesh out to the side a little. Just make sure that you feel really securely level on the seat bones. And then lift up into the chest. So the more you focus on lifting up into the heart area, the more it feels as though the abdomen is leaving the legs behind. And then we really open up the energy of the upper body. Keep the shoulders down, away from your ears. Just look forwards, look down at the floor. Look at something that's not moving, so that your eyes sit still in the sockets. Focus on inhalations and exhalations. Fill in the lungs from the bottom to the top and emptying the lungs from the top to the bottom. Softening the jaw and the tongue and the throat. And then bring your hands into Namaste. Press the palms firmly together. Lengthen from the armpits into the elbows, from the elbows into the heels of the hands, from the heels of the hands into the fingertips. And then with an exhalation, allow your eyes to gently close. Just focusing on inhalations and exhalations, listening to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. And with an exhalation, draw your chin down to meet your chest. Feeling the stretch of the back of the neck, drawing your shoulders away from the ears. Make good contact between the chin and the chest. And then spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone or somewhere. Hold on to that feeling of abundance in the heart area as you release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. Connect the tip of the index finger with the thumb, stretching the index finger and the ring finger and the little finger away. Just a gesture of peacefulness and of wisdom, knowledge. And then raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Just hold onto your knees, and again elevate the heart area like the torso is trying to leave the hips behind. Elevating the heart area upwards, drawing your shoulders down. With an exhalation, draw your chin down to meet the chest, keeping the shoulders down away from the ceiling, lifting the chest up to meet the chin. And then with an exhalation, draw your chin up to the ceiling so that the front of the neck really stretches out, pushing the chin towards the ceiling, keeping the shoulders away from your ears. And with an exhalation, bring the chin down to meet the chest. And with an exhalation, draw the chin up to meet the ceiling, keeping the shoulders down away from your ears. And with an exhalation, come back to the center. Just bring the head level. Excuse me. Take an inhalation, and on the exhalation, draw your chin down draw your right ear to the right shoulder, not the chin. Keep the chin level. Draw your right ear down to the right shoulder, but keeping the shoulders away from the ears. Drawing the shoulders down to the floor, lifting the heart area upwards, and just going back to the seat bones and making sure that the seat bones feel level. You don't lean over to one side as you bring the head to one side. With an out breath, come back to the center and over to the left. Stretching out the neck. Again, keeping the heart area lifted, the shoulders down, the seat bones level. On an out breath, just go back over to the right side, just feeling the mechanics of the neck as you Stretch them out, stretch out the muscles. Remembering to pay heed to the seat bones, even distribution of weight of the seat bones. On an out breath, just come back to the center and over to the left. And then come back to the center. Just elevate the heart, hold on to your knees, elevate the heart area upwards. Take a deep inhalation in through the nose. And then turn to the right side, drawing your abdomen across. Your abdomen and your ribs and your shoulders, elevating the heart area up to the ceiling. Drawing your abdomen across from the left to the right, trying to get your belly button to point at that right knee and beyond it. And then come back to the center, hold onto your knees, lift up into your chest, elevating the heart area upwards. Take a deep inhalation. And with an exhalation, turn to the left, drawing your abdomen across your ribs and your shoulders. Just listening to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. And then come back to the center. Just come off your lift unless you need to keep, unless you need to sit on the lift to keep your knees down low in crossed legs. So you can sit in swastikasana or half padmasana, whichever is more natural for you. Just hold onto your knees and elevate again the heart area upwards, almost like the torso wants to leave the hips behind, because that's the same action as in dog down, isn't it? But gravity is different. We want to lift the heart area up to the ceiling, leaving the hips behind, pushing the hips in the opposite direction. So we're going to go into Sukhasana. So reach underneath the right knee, bring your right elbow onto the block that's in line with this front knee, and then push that elbow firmly into the floor and then lengthen across into that left seat bone. So you've got this triangle. So push that elbow into the floor, lengthen from the elbow into the left seat bone, and then with the left hand on your hip, just turn the chest up to face the ceiling. And then reach up and over. Just looking underneath the armpit. Keeping that left seat bone down as firmly as you can. So engaging with that right elbow, lengthening the left seat bone away from the right elbow so that you bring kind of ballast into that left seat bone. So the more heavily you can press that left seat bone down, the more of a stretch you get along the side ribs, along the side of the abdomen. And then come back to the center, hold onto your knees. elevate your heart area up to the ceiling. Just take some deep inhalations and deep exhalations, listening to the breath. And then reach underneath the left knee. Just make sure that that left elbow comes onto the block directly underneath the shoulder, and then push the left elbow into the floor to create that triangle. So it's like a right angle triangle. So you can lengthen from the right angle to the right seat bone. Have your right hand on your hip, turn the chest. Feel that you can really press that right seat bone down, and then reach up and over. Keeping that lifted arm straight. Straightening that elbow if you can, Andrew. So straighten that elbow, that's it. And then keep reaching over it. You get a better stretch with a straight arm. Turn the chest up to face the ceiling, look underneath the armpit. So just like in Trikonasana, it helps to just open up the sinuses. If you look up, and then come back to the center. Just hold onto your knees, lift up into the chest. And then just swap the crossing of the legs. So if you're in half Padmasana, have the other leg on top. If you're doing cross legs, just cross your legs the other way so that the opposite leg is underneath. And then we'll just do Sukhasana one more time. So lift up into the heart area, reach underneath the right elbow, bring the right elbow down, push into that left seat bone, turn the chest, and then reach up and over, keeping that left seat bone down firmly by lengthening it from the right elbow. Turning the chest to face the ceiling. And then come back to center, hold onto your knees, lift up into your heart area, and then just reach underneath the left knee. Turn the chest, push that right seat bone down using your triangle, and then look up. Stretching out the side walls of the abdomen, lengthening out the side ribs, the armpit chest, lengthening into the little finger side of the hand, spreading the palm. And then come back to the center, just hold onto your knees, just observe the feeling of the energy that you have released, and then just draw the chin down, lengthening the shoulders away, draw the chin up, lengthening the shoulders away. Draw the chin down. And then draw the chin up. And then bring the head level, bring the head to the right side. And to the left. And to the right. And to the left. And then come back to the center just one more time. Hold onto your knees, elevate. We will do another pose in a minute. We're just really easing out the tensions of the shoulders and the neck and the spine. Lift up into the heart area and turn to the right side one more time. Just observe how maybe this time it feels different. Just remember, different isn't always better, but it typically will be. Come back to the center. Take a deep inhalation and then turn around to the left. And then come back to the center. Come down onto, just sit on your heels and come forwards into Adho Mukha Virasana, maintaining that feeling that the upper body, the torso wants to leave the hips behind, but at the same time, press the hips really firmly down. Keep the heart area lifting as you stretch forward, keeping the heart area lifted, keeping the head lifted initially, spreading the fingers, spreading the palms, and then bring the forehead down. If you've lost contact with your seat bones, then inch your hands towards your knees a little, and then push your hands really firmly into the floor. Hit the seat bones down. Breathe evenly into both lungs and from the bottom to the top. Breathe evenly out of both lungs from the top to the bottom. Just lift your head, keep your right hand where it is, thread the left arm underneath the right shoulder, lengthen the arm away, bring the left shoulder down onto the floor if you can, bring your head down onto the floor if you can, and then really activate both arms. Activate the right arm like you're doing Adho Mukha Virasana, and really press that left arm really firmly into the floor, not just from the hand, but from the forearm and even from the upper arm, and then roll the chest down to face the floor. So you prise open the shoulders. It's a similar action to Garudasana. Or at least the first stage of Garudasana. And then stretch your arms away. Just feel that space in the shoulders, just lengthening into Adho Mukha Virasana. Keep the left hand where it is. Lift your head. Thread the right arm underneath the left armpit, and then reactivate that left arm. Press the right arm really firmly into the floor, not from just for the hand, but from the forearm and the upper arm, and then roll the chest down to face the floor. So the seat bones will probably lift off the floor, but try and keep them down. Even if you don't succeed, you can keep trying to draw those seat bones down to the floor. And then just release. Just come back into Adho Mukha Virasana, pressing the seat bones down on the heels, keeping that front chest lifted a little more, and then Stretch out, bring the forehead down, stretch out along the floor. Just breathing even and deep inhalations and exhalations. Just come up onto your knees, spread the fingers, spread the palms, turn your toes under, and then with bent knees initially come up into dog down. And then tighten the kneecaps, draw the kneecaps through to the back of the knee. Activate the thigh muscles, the fronts of the thigh muscles especially, pushing, lifting the fronts of the thigh muscles up to the top of the leg and pushing the fronts of the thighs through to the backs of the thighs. Turning the fronts of the thighs inwards. Keeping the heart area lifting like we were doing when we were in cross legs, trying to separate the torso from the legs, hit the legs to the wall behind you, extend the abdomen into the arms. Hit the tops of the thighs into the hip socket. Hit the hip socket away from the shoulder blades, away from the armpits. Okay, step your feet forwards, come up into standing position. Just bring your feet as wide apart as your mat, lift up into the chest. And then hinge at the hips, come forwards. Have blocks underneath your hands if you need them. Keep the legs really straight, come into half Uttanasana. So tightening the kneecaps, extending the spine away from the legs, hitting the legs away from the spine. So it's the same as dog down, but gravity feels different. It's easier to feel like you can lift the chest away from the hips. Press the backs of the, press the fronts of the knees through to the backs of the knees. Turn the fronts of the thighs inwards. Elevate the seat bones, project the chin and the chest forwards. Just breathing even deep inhalations and exhalations. Press the heels consciously into the floor. Press the center of the heel into the floor. And then prise the inner knees. So prise the inner legs away from each other so that you lengthen the seat bones. You broaden the seat bones away from each other. You lift the seat bones up to the ceiling. So feel that your weight is in your heels. So hit your legs back a little if you feel like it's not there. And it's right in the center of the heel. Projecting the chin and the chest forwards. Okay, bring your hands into your hips and then come up into a standing position. And then come into Tadasana. So shoulders and neck. We're going to do gomhukhasana, the head of the cow. But then we're going to do some restorative poses because restorative poses are really good for your shoulders. So just be in Tadasana, inner edge of the feet together, hit the shins back, turn the fronts of the thighs inwards, tuck the tailbone in, and lift up into the heart area, like you're trying to prise the torso away from the legs. Stretch forwards with the, have a belt over your right shoulder. And then stretch the left arm away, turn the palm all the way out, and then keep the arm high, rotating the upper arm in the socket as you reach behind you, and then just assist that arm up towards your neck. Reach up with the right hand, extend upwards like you're doing Urdhva, and then reach down and see if you can take hold If you can't take hold, then get hold of the belt. So when we're in gomhukhasana, maintain your tadasana from the feet, turning the fronts of the legs inwards, lifting from the hips up into the armpits, prizing the elbows away from each other. As you stay, just see if you can creep the hands a little closer together, either on the belt or on the hands. Take deep, indulgent inhalations and exhalations. And then gently release, raise that top arm. Just drop the chest a little to release the back arm. And then resist the temptation to shake your fingers and stretch into the palms. Turn the palms all the way out, rotating the upper arms in the sockets as you do. Keep the kneecaps tight and keep the thighs hitting back so that your weight remains in the center of the heel. Lifting up into the heart area, drawing the shoulders down away from your ears. Stretch forwards with your right hand. Turn the palm, and then as you reach behind you, keep rotating that upper arm in the socket. That's the real key to this pose. And then assist that arm up your back, and then reach up. And then can you take hold? So either using the belt or holding onto the fingers. Just breathing into the pose, breathing energy into the body. Activating the legs. So it's easy to forget the legs when the focus of the pose appears to be in the upper body. Keep the legs activated, keep the center of the heel pressing into the floor. Okay, and then release your upper arm, release the lower arm. Turn the palms all the way out, rotating the upper arm in the socket. Breathe even and deep inhalations and exhalations. And then just release your arms. So we're going to do a mountain brook pose. So this is a restorative pose as opposed to the other style that we're doing. So you'll need a blanket, kind of unfold. So usually if you put it under your head, it'll be folded like that. So you fold it out into this kind of quarter fold, then put that along the floor and fold it down the center. So you've got this kind of long, quite fat kind of pillow. And that is going to go into the shoulder blade region. If you've got a bolster handy, have a bolster for underneath your knees. And then you're just going to come down and just come down onto the floor, and the shoulder blade region sits on the raised blanket. So you bring your head down onto the floor, you can take your glasses off, it just helps you to relax. And then just rest your arms on the floor over your head. So the blanket should be directly in the shoulder blade region. So just rest yourself down onto the floor. So the palms are facing upwards, the elbows rest on the floor if they can. You can just put blocks underneath your elbows if they won't. But just allow yourself to rest into the ground, so the bolster underneath your knees, and then just lay down on the floor. So a restorative pose isn't a pose of extension, it's a pose of relaxation. But this pose is really good for stiff shoulders. So just allow yourself to release down into the floor. Also, with restorative poses, I won't speak as much because you don't really want someone nattering away while you're trying to relax. So just make sure that you feel comfortable. Adjust if you're not sure. Just close your eyes or cover your eyes. Put the bolster underneath your knees. Blanket underneath the shoulder blades. And then just release into the floor. So with a restorative pose, you stay in the position for an extended period, typically around 5 to 10 minutes. I'm not going to stay for quite that long this morning. It just gives you the opportunity to just slow things down. Practice of restorative yoga brings a huge amount of energy, a surprising amount of energy. Perhaps you can feel how your ribcage feels lifted and perhaps more prominent than normal, so that you can breathe more deeply. Okay, when you're ready to bring yourself out of the pose, just bring your arms to the side ribs, bring your hands, just elbows onto the floor, resting your hands on your side ribs, and then bend your knees and roll onto your side, and then sit yourself up. Just sitting cross legs and just observe the energy around the shoulders. So there's a fair intensity to the energy around the shoulders. Just draw the chin to the chest, shoulders down, chin to the ceiling. Just nice and gently bring the head level, right ear to right shoulder, and then left ear to left shoulder. And then come back to the center. So we're going to do a supported bridge pose, which again is a restorative pose. It's really, really nice for your neck. Just unroll your blanket so it's a kind of a quarter fold like this. And then you're just going to roll a little Swiss roll. So not all the way, because you're going to rest your head on the rest of the blanket, but it needs to be a reasonably substantial roll. And then you're going to keep the bolster, but you're going to basically put the seat bones on the bolster this time. So it's like a setu bandha. So you come down onto the floor, and then you rest your neck into the Swiss roll. Just make sure that you feel level, and then you push yourself up push the seat bones up towards the ceiling. Put the bolster in the kind of lumbar area, and then you just rest, just with the knees bent, the bolster underneath the seat bones, and then you can either rest with your arms to sides of the body, or you can even rest with your arms over your head. But I prefer resting the arms at the sides of the body. So after you've been there for a little while, maybe you feel, well, actually the roll could be a bit thicker, or if it feels like it's a bit restrictive, unroll it a little. So just allow yourself to rest into the rolled up blanket, resting into the bolster, just allowing the body to release into the floor. Just allowing yourself to release into the floor. So if it feels restrictive at the back of the neck, then just adjust the blanket so that it feels more comfortable, because comfort is the priority here. If it feels like it's not supporting your neck enough, then roll the blanket up a little more. Okay, so we're just going to come out of this pose just into a basic relaxation pose. So you can keep the roll underneath your neck, just lift the seat bones, roll the bolster away, bring the tailbone down back onto the floor, and then just roll the bolster away so that it sits underneath your knees. And then you can either stay with the rolled up blanket underneath your neck, just resting into shavasana, or if the roll feels uncomfortable under your neck or doesn't feel right, then just lift your head and fold the blanket into like we normally do, and then rest into the floor. Just allowing the body to release into the ground. Bringing the body can become heavy on the floor. Unhooking the muscles of the arms and the legs, sinking into the ground. As you relax the muscles, allow the body to become heavy, observe through that heaviness a sensation of lightness radiates out from the bones and into the muscles, into the organs, to the flesh and into the skin. Okay, when you're ready to disturb yourself, just wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers. Just bring yourself back into this pose of Shavasana, and then just bring your knees on, bring your feet onto the bolster, feet apart, knees together. Just resting into the ground. And then gently roll onto your side. Just roll onto your right side, just stay down for a breath or two. And then straighten out the top leg, come back up into the seated position. Just a final cross legs with your hands in the masti, just a final spinal lift. Draw your breath in through your nose and down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you have released through your practice this morning, that good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the extensions and the forward bends and the twists and the reclining poses bring to the body and to the mind. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Just spend a moment to seek to acknowledge the positive energy you've created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then gently release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. So hopefully you feel as though you've really lifted your energy, but you've also got space in your shoulders and your neck, so that there is good freedom around the neck. So thank you very much for joining me.